And we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to talk about the current standings, where everything is now after week 6. So yeah, I mean we're almost at the midway point of the season, which I can't believe that. I really can't. The one thing is when you get football back, like it's great and all, but it goes so fast. And once again, that is the case. Also, again, forgive me. There's neighbor's house is still getting work done. Um, so that's why if you hear some of the background noise, that's what that all is. So yeah, let's get right into the current standings now. So we'll start off with the AFC East. So the Dolphins currently are 5-1. They're in first place. The Bills are a game back. The Jets are 2 games back at 3-3, and the Patriots obviously are 1-5. Um, I, I still like the Bills to win the division. I know the last game of the regular season is going to be in Miami, so that's going to be a tough game. I hope it does come down to that because that would be awesome. Because that game would be the last game of the regular season probably. That would probably get flexed into Sunday night if it comes down to that. So I really hope that ends up being the case because that would be awesome. The Jets, I mean, listen, I think they could be a wild card team. We'll talk about them during the week. I think tomorrow we'll do a segment on them, and I'll give my thoughts on them moving forward. But listen, their defense is going to be what ultimately carries them to the postseason right now because Zach Wilson has to continue to play mistake-free football. Obviously they couldn't really get the running game going this past week like they did the previous one. So, you want to see Breece Hall hopefully, have a monster game again. And, well, I think he might because, they're on the bye. But when they come back, they'll be playing the Giants. So that'll be fun. But, yeah, they're definitely going to be a team that I'll talk about this week. The Patriots are 1-5. I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, listen, a couple years ago, during the Brady era, I mean, the standings would be flip-flopped, But right now, that's not the case. The Patriots, they're one of the worst teams in football, and they are not doing it. They're not going to do anything this year. So, yeah. So we'll move on to the AFC North. So right now, the Ravens, they are a half game up on the Steelers and the Browns. Bengals are still in last place at 3-3. I still think the Bengals are the favorites. I just like their team better than the other teams ahead of them. Although I will say the Browns defense, I mean, they really showed you something on Sunday, shutting down the 49ers. I think, again, what's going to hold them back is Deshaun Watson because he just really hasn't been that good this year. I mean, they won with P.J. Walker at quarterback. But, yeah, Deshaun Watson actually might be the reason they're held back. And you would think that's not the case because, he used to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But, with everything that's gone on with him, really hasn't been the case. Listen, the Steelers, I think they'll still finish with a respectable record because that's just what Mike Tomlin teams do. But I just can't see them winning the division. The Ravens and the Bengals have better offenses than them. I still don't. I don't trust the Steelers' offense with Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett can be good, but the real problem is they got to change up the offensive coordinator. They got to get rid of Matt Canada, which for some reason they just don't want to do. So, but yeah, Ravens right now are in first place, and the Bengals are in last, but I think the Bengals will catch up to them. So we'll see. In the South, I think the Jags now are starting to find their groove. Big win over the Colts. They're 4-2, and I think they're going to end up winning this division. Anthony Richardson, him getting hurt, the Titans dealing with their quarterback situation. Yeah, it's a problem there. I mean, the Texans, I think they might move up to being in second place. They're playing well, but yeah, the Jags, this is their division to win. But yeah, they're 4-2. Chiefs are 5-1. Raiders 3-3. Chargers 2-3. Broncos 1-5. The Chiefs are going to win this division. The Raiders, I mean, good for them. They're 3-3, but it's it's pretty much a wrap when it comes to that division. I don't know. Did something? I have to look at something really quick because my friend's talking about picking up running backs. All right, so okay. I don't know if anything because we have Christian McCaffrey in one of our leagues. I don't know if there's any news that came out on him while I'm recording here. Just says he's undergoing an MRI. But yeah, we're gonna have to pick up running backs because we have James Conner, we have Christian McCaffrey, and they're both hurt. So now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do. So but yeah, I just checked Sleeper, the fantasy app, so nothing seemed like nothing new came out. I guess it seems, but we'll find out shortly. So yeah, the Chiefs. I mean, they're gonna win the West and the AFC. All right, so then we get to the NFC East. The Eagles are 5-1, Cowboys 4-2, Commanders are 3-3, Giants are 1-5. Eagles, I think, still win this division. The Cowboys, yeah, they beat the Chargers, but I just look at the Eagles as the better team. And we'll see what happens when these two teams play each other. Last year was interesting because in both of their meetings, one of the starting quarterbacks was out. The first game, Dak was out. The second game, Hurts was out. The Cowboys did put up a lot of points against them in the second game, but I think the Eagles are the better team. I think they still win this division. So, and the Commanders, listen, they could play for a wild card, 3-3. I mean, they still got a shot. Sam Howell has looked good. I mean, really, he only had one really bad game, and that was against. I mean, the Bears game was rough in the beginning, but he still passed for almost 400 yards. But the Bills game, that was awful. I mean, he was really bad. But other than that, I mean, he's been solid. So we'll see how he is moving forward. But, you got to like what you see with some of the things Sam Howell is doing. Obviously, we just talked about the Lions. They're 5-1. They're 2.5 games up on the Packers. I mean, they're going to win their division. They just are. They are by far the best team in this division. And, hey, they could have one of the top 2 seeds maybe in the NFC. We'll have to see. So, yeah. The South, I think this might be, both South divisions just aren't very good. The South, I think it's either going to be the Bucs or the Saints. Right now, the Falcons and the Saints are tied for second. You got the Bucs at 3-2. I don't know. I mean, I like the Bucs to win the division. I just really don't like what the Saints are doing offensively. I think for me, Dennis Allen, they might have to move off of him as their head coach because, I think ever since Sean Payton left, they've kind of just been taking steps back. And, look at what Sean Payton's doing over in Denver, So, I like the Bucs still. Especially because they got that division win over the Saints in New Orleans. But, I wasn't very happy with how the Bucs offense performed against the Lions on Sunday. That was kind of a, that was bad. That was a bad look for me because I was, kind of positive with the Bucs. I'm like, hey, they could beat the Lions maybe. But, yeah, no, that was not the case. Niners are 5-1. Moving on to the NFC West, Niners are 5-1, obviously after the loss to the Browns. Seahawks are 3-2, Rams 3-3, Cardinals 1-5. Seahawks and Rams are going to be fighting for wild card spots. Niners, I think that's still their division to lose, and I think they'll end up with the division at the end of the year. So we get to the wild card. You have the Bills that have the top spot, Steelers, and then the Browns, and then behind them you have the Colts, Texans, Jets, Raiders, Bengals, Chargers. The Titans are 2-4, Patriots and Broncos are 1-5. Yeah, I think you kind of unfortunately, for the Titans, I'm going to kind of have to discount them. I don't think they're, really going to be fighting for anything this year. especially with the injuries. Patriots and Broncos, you can kind of forget about them as well. So really, from the Chargers up, those are the playoff team. Those are the teams fighting for a playoff spot. Of the teams that are on the outside looking in, I think the Colts are going to fade out now with, Anthony Richardson being out for the rest of the year. I don't trust the Raiders, so I would take them out. So that would kind of leave you with maybe the Texans, I don't see them making the playoffs. I think they'll get close if C.J. Stroud continues to play well. But the teams that I would take out of that bunch is probably the Bengals, the Jets. I mean, I would throw the Chargers in there, but again, I don't really trust them either. So there's a lot of teams that are still like it's very close, but those are probably the Jets, the Bengals, and the Chargers from that group is who I would probably put, as more likely to make the playoffs. The Browns, I mean, they got a very good defense, but Deshaun Watson, I think, might be what holds them back. The Steelers, I don't think they're going to be holding that playoff spot for that long, but we'll see. But that's where it currently stands in the AFC. Then over in the NFC side of things, you got the Cowboys that got the top spot, the Seahawks, the Rams at 3-3. And then the other 3-3 teams, you got the Commanders, the Falcons, the Saints. Packers are 2-3, Vikings 2-4. They're a game and a half back. The Bears and the Giants are 2.5 games back. Cardinals and Panthers. Cardinals are 2.5 games back. Panthers 3.5. Panthers, they're not going anywhere. Cardinals are not going anywhere. Giants are not going anywhere. Bears not going anywhere. Vikings, I mean, they're 2-4. I just think with Jefferson being out, their record's only gonna get worse. I mean, I know they beat the Bears, but it's the Bears. Now they got the 49ers coming up. I think it's too much of a mountain to climb for them. The Falcons, I don't really trust them. Packers, don't really trust them at the moment. Saints, I said they can be a wild card team. So Saints, Commanders, Rams, Seahawks, Cowboys. Those are, I mean, the Cowboys, Seahawks, and Rams are holding the spots. Commanders and Saints, I kind of like them to maybe, squeak in from the teams that are on the outside looking in. But the Rams, I mean, listen, they still got Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Cooper Kupp is back. Like I said before, they could probably be a wild card team, but it's going to be really close. And, with the Saints, I mean, they're on the outside looking in. They got to get more consistent on offense because right now they're still like kind of not really. I don't want to say a mess, but they're just not they're an inconsistent team because they've shown flashes where you're like, wow, that was great, but until they're consistent, they're going to continue to be on the outside looking in. The Commanders, I mean, offensively, you got to like again what Sam Howell is doing. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have complaints. Well, I shouldn't say I don't have any complaints, but yeah, right now, I mean, the teams that have the wild card spots, I mean, that could very well be what it ends up being. The Seahawks have a very good offense, so I could see them, and they're an improving young defense, so I could see them, making the playoffs again this year. I think the Rams could be a team that, they have it, they hold the spot, and then maybe, they kind of. Maybe a team knocks them off and another team surpasses them, but we'll see. But yeah, that's the current standings. So let me know what you guys think about that. And yeah, so that's basically it for the show today. I thank you guys all for tuning in, getting some comments, which I appreciate that. Again, to get your comments recognized, donate or tip to the show. Go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And again, make sure to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network to get all the exclusive content for all the podcasts here on the GSMC Sports Network. So, but yeah, that's basically it for me. Now after this, I'm going to record the Patreon for today. So I'll continue my discussion on there. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. So once again, I thank you guys for tuning in, leaving comments. But yeah, leave comments on the videos. Make sure to like and subscribe as well. We appreciate that. I'm going to have yesterday's show into 4 parts posted on both YouTube channels by the end of the day. So if you missed anything, I mean, you could obviously check out the full live stream, but I'll have the segments for each for the show from yesterday reposted by the end of the day today. So with that is all the time that we have for today. I thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time, so make sure to tune in. So until then, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.